It is finally happening. Project 4 mil. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I do have the Banshee behind me. It is finally time to get Project 4 mil started up. It's been a long time coming, man, and I'll tell you why it's been so long. It's because I've been slowly acquiring parts. I still don't have quite everything yet, and I'm also doing a lot of research because I want to make sure that I get the right stuff so that I can make the best build, so that I can make the most badass videos for you guys. Now, before I get into the parts that I purchased for this Banshee already and talk about some of the future plans that I have for it, let me go over the Banshee and how it looks right now. You guys are going to want to kill me. Oh, this thing looks terrible, man. All the way down to the trash bag on the motor. Fitting. It's really not that bad, though. It's just been sitting outside. I had it covered up. You can see all the little pine needles, some mud on the tires. But it's really not that bad. So I should be able to clean up all this stuff and make it look really nice again. And most likely what I'm going to do tonight is just kind of pull this stuff off. And maybe I'll pull the motor out, because that's really where the majority of the work is going to be. Now, we do have boxes here, and that's our favorite thing here because everybody loves boxes because there's always new parts in them. So there's actually only one new part here. This is new, and this is old. I'm going to open up both of them for you and show you what's inside, and we'll talk about some future plans, and we're going to do that right now. Okay. So finally, after about an hour and a half of looking for all of the parts, we can get to opening these boxes. So we're just going to go ahead and use this Japanese World War II era bayonet to open this box. There we go. I guess this thing hasn't been sharpened in quite a few years. Let's just go back to the old box cutter. Already liking it. Has stickers in it. Oh yeah. Ooh, that's nice. So there it is. This is a Driveline Performance 115 millimeter forged crank set. This is one of the better ones that I could find on eBay. I didn't want to go with Hot Rods cranks because you guys bust my balls so bad for going with Hot Rods. And I think this actually is a better crank anyway. You can see they put some really nice quality wrist pin bearings in here. It has a 10-ball max load bearing on the flywheel side of the crank. That's the side of the crank that gets the most amount of abuse. So this should be a little bit more durable than a standard 7-ball bearing. Now you can pick one of these up for yourself for about 430 bucks on eBay right from Driveline Performance. All right, so let's get this thing out of the way. And actually, in terms of new parts, that's actually all I have right now. And I did order carbs. I got 28 millimeter PWKs. They just haven't come in the mail yet. They're jetting them right now. Hopefully they can make the jetting pretty close to what we need. And what I have here now is stuff that you guys have probably seen before, most of you guys anyway. I have our cool head right here, Trinity Stage 4. I couldn't find these brand new anymore from Trinity. So what I ended up doing, this is the same head that was on the Banshee when I blew it up. And if you guys remember, this thing was beat to shit. It was all chewed up from the piston exploding and mashing little bits of piston up against this dome. So I had a buddy of mine, his pop actually milled this. The guy's a master machinist. He took 2 millimeters out of both domes. And they look pretty good to me. So these should work really nice. Saved me a good amount of money. I didn't have to buy a special set of domes for these, which I'm not even sure you can get them for this kit anymore. Trinity doesn't seem to make any parts for their stage 4 head. So that should work out pretty nice. Now the other thing I need to do is get these cylinders bored and ported correctly. Now from what I understand, these need to be ported specifically for a 4mm. So if you guys look in here, you can see they have a pretty nice port job. But I'm sure they're not for a 4mm. If they are, I don't know. It's most likely. I have no idea what these are ported for. These just came with the Banshee when I bought it, so it's kind of like a big question. And I'm not a professional, machinist or anything. Like or motor builder. I wouldn't really be able to tell what kind of port that is. So I'm going to see if I can get these ported correctly for the 4mm. Now, if I can't use these cylinders, it's no problem. I'm just going to have to end up getting a different set of cylinders. I don't want to screw things up trying to salvage these, especially because these are good cylinders for a factory length stroke. So I could resell these or maybe use them in the future. So I'll see what the deal is with that. I'm actually going to be contacting a company that does porting and polishing, and I'll see if I can work something out with them. Now, as for the rest of the parts that I need for this Banshee, in terms of the 4mm anyway, I'm going to need pistons, a gasket set, and I think that's about it. Now, I've been doing a lot of my research on how to build a 4mm, and I'm still doing my research, so don't quote me on this stuff, guys. But from what I understand, a lot of you guys have sent me messages on my older Banshee videos when I'm mentioning building the 4mm, and some of the stuff you guys are mentioning is correct. There's a couple different ways that you can achieve a 4mm or a stroker Banshee, from what I understand. And, you can do it with a standard length crank, and you can also do it with a 115mm long rod crank, which is the one that I went with. Both of them can achieve the 4mm. The difference is the longer rod is supposed to have a little bit more reliability. Because of the longer rod, the pivot angle when the crank is spinning is not quite as great, so there's less of a chance of you breaking a skirt. That's just from what I understand. So that's the route I went with, the actual long rod. And the other thing is, some of you guys are saying you don't have to cut the heads. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Like I said, there's a couple different ways that you can achieve the 4mm. And the way that I'm doing it, the pistons would actually stick out of the cylinder a little bit too far, and they'd be smacking up against the head. So I actually had to mill 2mm out of my head to compensate for that extra throw of the long rod. Now, there's also special pistons you can buy so that it won't go the extra length out of the cylinder, and then you don't have to do this. And if you don't want to cut your head, there's also spacers that go underneath your cylinder and raise them up slightly. Now, from what I understand, that's kind of like the cheaper way of doing it and less reliable. So I chose to get this milled and go with the more reliable route of the longer crank and getting this milled out. So, hopefully it'll work out nicely. Like I said, all I have to do now is get these cylinders ported, and I don't want to buy my pistons until I talk to a builder and see what he recommends for what type of pistons to get and what size. It's most likely going to be Wiseco 795 series from what I understand. But like I said, guys, don't quote me on any of this stuff just yet. I'm still doing a lot of research and everything. I want to make sure that I do this right. Now, the carbs I ordered are PWK 28mm, like I said before. And a lot of you guys are probably saying, why are you getting them only 28mm? Why are you getting them so small? Well, a smaller carburetor should give me a little bit more download torque. And that's how I'm going to be riding this thing. It's going to be a trail quad. It's probably not going to be like a wide open drag racing quad, so I'd rather have down low torque. The 28mm PWKs are supposed to be a good choice for that, even with the 4mm. And that, along with a down low trail port, should really give this thing some mad torque. And should be pretty nice. Okay, guys, so now that you see the parts that I've ordered for the 4mm and the parts that I plan to order, while I'm waiting to figure out all the future build specs, I'm going to go ahead and strip some of these parts out on the Banshee and pull the bottom end out. But before I get started on that, guys, remember to check out my Instagram. It's Michael Sabo 350. I've been posting up a lot of your guys' rides and your guys' projects. If you want to submit your information, submit your bike to me, shoot me a DM or an email. Please give me a couple weeks, guys. You guys have been sending some kind of funny, angry messages to me. My DMs are backed up like a lot, so it takes sometimes a couple weeks for me to post up your bike. But nevertheless, shoot me a picture of your bike. I love getting your guys' stuff. I love sharing that. It's not all about me. I like to share your guys' projects too. A lot of you guys are doing way cooler builds than I am. If you do send a picture in, please try to include the entire quad or dirt bike in the picture, at least one picture like that, unless you have like special parts that you want to show off. And try to do a high resolution photo too. And if you have any details or anything about it that you want me to mention in my post, make sure to include that as well. And one last thing I want to mention before I get started here, guys. A lot of you guys love Yamaha quads and dirt bikes. If you guys check out Raptorman 406 on Instagram, he posts some badass rides and a lot of cool videos. He also has a YouTube page that's Raptorman 406 as well. Make sure to check him out. We're all a big family here, supporting each other. More content for you guys to look at when I'm not posting stuff. So once again, guys, that's Raptorman 406. Make sure to check him out. All right, guys, let's strip this Banshee down. So let's get to pulling this bottom end out. This should be a fairly easy job because of where I'm at right now. Pretty much all we have is this motor mount bolt right here, motor mount bolt right here, and then there's two motor mounts. Let's see if you can see it in here. They're way up under here. There's two rods that are actually bolted to the bottom of the motor, and then they're bolted to the frame. And that's pretty easy to get off. And then, of course, we have our chain. So I'll probably pop that off first. And then once we get that stuff off, the radiator hoses are already off. I might have to unplug a couple wires from the wire harness. But the exhaust is off. The cylinders are off. This thing should pull right out after that. So let's get to it. Gotta love the Banshee and the way they set up the motor mounts. You don't have to take this swing arm off. to take the motor out. I love that about the Banshee.
All right, so that was fairly easy to do. You can see I got the bottom end sitting behind me. Now that we have the motor out of there, I can take the rest of the Banshee, set it aside, and we'll figure out exactly what we're going to do with this 4mm build. So stay tuned. Most likely what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, I'm going to call an engine builder and see what we're going to do with our cylinders and our porting. Once that's figured out and I get those parts ordered, this thing's going to start going together. And before you know it, we're going to be ripping on this thing. We'll do a top speed run and just see how much different it is from the stock bore. All right, guys, so until then, remember to give this video a thumbs up if you like this content. If you have any ideas for videos, please put comments in the comment section below. Also, remember to check out my Instagram. It's MichaelSabo350. Once again, that is MichaelSabo350. Don't forget, for all you Yamaha junkies, make sure you check out Raptorman406. Really nice content on his Instagram page, and he's also got a YouTube page as well. And until then, guys, enjoy your week, and I will see you soon.
All right, guys, so now that you've seen the parts that I have already and the plans that I have for this 4mm, while I'm waiting for the future parts and still getting the